Last night, between 3:45 in the afternoon and 1:23 this morning, Hawaii's Kilauea Volcano put on its 53rd eruption episode in 20 months. 9.6 hours of continuous lava fountaining, 500 feet high, and according to the USGS Hawaiian Volcano Observatory's overnight report, something new. A third vent, one that used to be a collapse pit, spent the evening doing something the fountains don't do. It was breathing fire. Here is what the instruments recorded, what actually happened at the summit overnight, and why the number 53 should mean more to you than it sounds. Because the last time this volcano behaved this way, episode after episode after episode, what came next lasted 35 years. It started quietly. At 20 past 11 yesterday morning, the observatory logged what it calls precursory low-level activity, small overflows, the summit vents clearing their throat. Anyone watching the public live stream saw it, lava beginning to spill, unhurried, from the north vent inside Halemaʻumaʻu crater. This is how episodes announce themselves now, and the USGS has gotten remarkably good at reading it. At 3:45, the throat clearing ended. The north vent went from spilling to firing, a sustained fountain of lava climbing to roughly 500 feet. For scale, that is a 30-story building made of liquid rock at over 2,000 degrees, standing in the air, continuously, for 9.5 hours. And here is the first detail from the report worth noticing. The south vent, which has fountained in earlier episodes, never joined in, not once. The entire show ran through the north vent, with the south vent sitting dark beside it. The plumbing under this crater is choosing paths, and the choices are changing episode to episode. The fallout, tephra, the glassy fragments a fountain throws downwind, landed entirely inside the closed section of Hawaii Volcanoes National Park, to the southwest and west. Nobody was in danger. This whole area has been sealed off since 2007. Which is part of what makes Kilauea unique on Earth right now. It is a volcano in full eruption, performing to instruments and cameras, with the audience at a safe distance. The most watched lava on the planet. Then, at 1:23 this morning, the fountain shut off. Not a fade, a stop. The report notes the final 4 minutes were marked by gas jetting and flames from the vent, like an engine sputtering on the last of its fuel. And that abruptness, strange as it looks, is not a mystery. It is the signature of exactly how these episodes work, and it is the key to the whole pattern. But before the mechanism, the detail in this report that actually made me sit up, the third vent. Because fountains, Kilauea has done for 2 centuries. This is different. On the west side of the crater floor, there used to be a collapse pit, a sinkhole in the cooled lava. A hole, not a vent. During episode 53, that hole spent the evening periodically emitting flames. Not lava, flames. Visible fire, brightest after 7 in the evening, flickering out of the ground. Flames from a volcano sound obvious until you think about it. Lava glows, but it doesn't burn. There's nothing in molten rock to combust. Open fire means gas. Volcanic gases, hydrogen, sulfur compounds, methane, where heat meets buried organics, finding a pathway up, mixing with air, and igniting. A collapse pit that starts breathing fire is telling you the magmatic system beneath the crater floor has connected a new door to the surface. The overnight report now lists it as a vent, the new west vent, formerly the collapse pit. A hole got promoted. And it did more than burn. At the start of the episode, that new west vent overflowed alongside the south vent. The crater floor's plumbing is visibly reorganizing itself, live, on a public webcam. 52 episodes taught observers what normal looks like. Episode 53 edited the definition. So why does this volcano erupt in numbered episodes at all? Hours of violence, then days of silence, 53 times. The mechanism is closer to a soda bottle than a furnace. Fresh magma rising under the summit carries dissolved gas. As it climbs and pressure drops, that gas comes out of solution, bubbles, forming a growing layer of magmatic foam in the upper conduit. For days between episodes, the foam builds, the pressure builds, the summit inflates. The actual ground surface swells, and the observatory's tilt meters record it as a rising line. This is that line, the real instrument data, public, updated continuously. Watch the shape, a slow climb between episodes, then a cliff. The climb is the bottle being shaken. The cliff is last night. When the foam layer reaches a critical point, it destabilizes, and the whole gas-charged column discharges at once. The fountain, 9.5 hours of 500-foot spray, is the conduit, emptying its accumulated gas. And when the gas-rich charge is spent, not the lava, the gas, the fountain doesn't taper. It quits. At 1:23 a.m., mid-breath. The sputtering flames in those final 4 minutes were the very last of the foam burning off. Then the cycle resets. The summit, deflated, begins reinflating within hours. Somewhere under Hawaii right now. Forecast. Within windows of days. A volcano with a schedule. January 1983. A vent on Kilauea's East Rift Zone named Pu'u'oto began erupting, in episodes. High fountains, hours long, then silence, then again. And then, in 1986, the episode stopped. Not because the eruption ended, but because it changed state. The episodic fountaining gave way to continuous effusion. Pu'u'oto then erupted, essentially without stopping, for 35 years. The longest rift eruption in centuries. The one that buried Kalapana, added miles of new coastline, and only ended in 2018 by collapsing into the largest Kilauea summit collapse in 200 years. The current summit eruption has now passed that count. 53 episodes and climbing. Now, the honest version. And this channel will always give you the honest version. An episode count is not a countdown, and Halemaʻumaʻu's summit system is not the East Rift. The plumbing, the hazards, and the possible futures are different. Nobody at the observatory is predicting a 35-year sequel, but the reason volcanologists watch this sequence with such attention is precisely the precedent. On this volcano, long episodic fountaining phases have historically been openings, the first chapter of something longer, not standalone events. The question the instruments are trying to answer is not, when does this end? It is, what is this the beginning of? One more number for scale. From the Deep Archive. In 1959, Kilauea Iki's fountains reached 1,900 feet, the record. Last night's 500 is not the mountain's ceiling, it is the mountain pacing itself. So what happens next? Concretely, 3 instruments tell the story between now and episode 54. The tilt meters watch the reinflation rate. Faster filling has meant shorter gaps. The seismometers, small quakes trace the magma's pathways, including toward that new west vent. And the gas sensors, sulfur dioxide output, measures how hard the deep supply is pushing. All of it is public. You can watch the same screens the scientists do, tonight, for free. And to be equally clear about what last night does, not mean. No dramatizing on this channel. The alert level is advisory, yellow, unchanged. The activity is confined to a closed area of a national park. No communities are threatened by these summit episodes. This is not a disaster. It is something rarer, the most closely observed volcanic sequence on Earth, mid-story, with the ending genuinely unwritten. Here's my final thought. Every island in Hawaii, every beach, every road, every town, is the output of exactly what you watched tonight. Fountains, overflows, episodes, repeated for 1,000,000 years. Last night wasn't the volcano malfunctioning. It was the volcano doing the only thing it has ever done, building, with us, for the first time in history, close enough to count the episodes and read its gauges in real time. Episode 2 is already loading. When it fires, I'll read the report, and I'll break it down here. Same desk. If you want that, subscribe. It's one tap. And tell me below, would you stand at the crater rim if the rangers let you? Because I genuinely can't decide. See you at episode 2.